I want to burn the tape from this season and never watch a single highlight ever from the 2025 season.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free wherever it's your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. Welcome back, everydayers. We're talking about the wrap-up to this 2025 season. Burn the damn tape. Burn it. Don't want to see it. I don't want to see it ever again. This humiliation that was the 2025 season. Now, don't get me wrong, UCLA played decent in that first half against USC. They came out with energy, intensity, life, enthusiasm, everything that USC didn't. Only for everything to go terribly wrong, to get laughed at and embarrassed by USC when they went for two and just Lincoln Riley just, hey, let me slap the little living crap out of you. How do we get embarrassed by that crappy coach on the other sideline? Like, how do we just, it's frustrating. It really is that UCLA is getting the score run up on them in a, two possession game by Lincoln Riley with the holder, whoever the hell was throwing the 2-point conversion. And the fact that when the game was still in the balance, it was false start, delay game, false start. Like, what are we watching here? An absolute embarrassment to what UCLA could have been this year when you had an all-world athlete at quarterback. Obviously, a lot of misgivings there on how Nico came to UCLA, put a lot of pressure, a lot of eyeballs on the Bruins when they just probably weren't ready for it this year when Deshaun Foster came into year two. And embarrassment was the name of the game for the first couple of weeks. Then you had the likes of Tim Skipper giving us something to cheer for and enjoy. And then unfortunately, UCLA, despite a 3-game winning streak, with an absolute thud to end the year here in this 2025 season. I mean, frustrating. This was a game UCLA could have had a much closer score against USC, and to let them just pull it away, make big plays, and win this game, and the way it happened with when UCLA's, all right, they're within a score. They get a pick. Oh, let's not only PI the receiver, let's have a late hit on the quarterback. Then UCLA's driving to midfield, 1st and 10, coming out of a timeout. Then it's false start, delay a game, sack, false start, delay a game. Like, how does that just keep happening? And I appreciate the efforts Jerry Neuheisel and Tim Skipper have done. They just have not been able to turn this team to 5-star caliber when a lot of these guys, unfortunately, are of the lower tier or just aren't disciplined or just need some new motivation. Tim Skipper did his best at the end of this year, but the Bruins were a sinking ship, unfortunately, before we even kicked off the 2025 season. Nico has a lot to work on in this offseason to become a true NFL top-tier pick, a top quarterback picked in 2027, let alone a top-tier transfer option in 26 if that's the route he wants to go. But the fact that UCLA let this dumpy USC overrated 9-3 crap come in here and then go for 2 at the end, like obviously you can run at the score, whatever, who cares? We've seen this nonsense before between both sides. But like, how do you just let them do that to you? Like, honestly, that's just frustrating. With all the energy the Bruins coming out of the locker room, the weird whistle coming out against UCLA to start the second half, and then the momentum just shifted. The punt return, the inability for the Bruins to just step on the neck and just end it for USC in this game. They just couldn't put their opponent down and close it out. But unfortunately, UCLA had a lot to learn. They weren't a disciplined football team, and it showcased its way, and that's how the season ended. You are who you have played and how the record states you are, the numbers, and the Bruins showcase some of their ugliest qualities in this game against USC in a losing effort. I don't want to see this tape from this game, from this season, from the last couple of years of UCLA football. I want UCLA to go out there and get a Bob Chesney, the James Madison coach who's led the Dukes to an 11-1 record. That has led his James Madison squad to the Sun Belt Championship game undefeated in conference play. Only loss was to Louisville early this year. Chesney, who I've seen various rumors it might be a done deal from UCLA. He's leaning on Penn State, waiting to see if he gets that offer. Matt Zenitz from 24/7 Sports and CBS saying, hey, that's UCLA's top option. Go get it, and we won't even look at this dark age of UCLA football. The only hope is that whoever is the next coach for UCLA doesn't look at the tape from the last 2 years, doesn't look at the empty stands, doesn't look at the tarps, doesn't look at the weird stuff happening in the athletic department, whether it's the sidestepping actual tax evasion with NIL rules, whether it's the UCLA leaking donor data, whether it's the athletes wanting to get rid of the former athletes, get rid of the AD, fans flying banners, get rid of that nonsense, and hopefully the Bruins can find a way as a program to step forward. The UC Regents have already said they want to support. They will be willing to give more money to a UCLA head coaching search. And while all these other people and all these other teams are fighting over Lane Kiffin to be the side piece, whether Lane Kiffin decides to stay, go somewhere else, where the UCLA wants to get in that same wrestling match with Jed Fish, I'd certainly love a good Bob Chesney, a guy who looks determined to build a culture and turn around a UCLA program. Young guy, has won at every level, and this is a UCLA program that needs an identity. We try to pin it into Sean Foster's roots as a UCLA Bruin and recruiting SoCal like Chip Kelly didn't. Try to pin it in the hopes of a 5-star talent like Nico, but he needs a lot of development and guidance. We hope Jerry Neuheisel could have pulled off a miracle with Tim Skipper, and those guys need a little more seasoning, and Tim Skipper needs his guys to be coachable and not just make the same silly mistakes their coach for the last 2 years coming out of the portal. Does UCLA retain Jerry Neuheisel? All fascinating discussions in this offseason. Does UCLA even want the return of Nico, or do you want something else? No circus, just a simple pocket passer, and move with the Luke Duncan and maintain some of the success UCLA had running the ball at the end of the year and push that towards 2026 success? Well, namely, you want a program builder that can give this team an identity and bring discipline. Kind of what Jim Moore had about a decade ago to make this team fun to watch, packed out the Rose Bowl, competing for a Pac-12 championship, and then finding ways to make this team relevant for a small stretch of time. And now you see Jim Moore becoming the hype again over at Colorado State. You see all these other teams making big plays and big things for their other coaches. Well, UCLA, they had the energy. Tim Skipper did his best, but unfortunately, there were way too many times where the Bruins were embarrassed, whether it was Nebraska being a one-score game, but they controlled the entirety of it, Washington and their UCLA's last game, potentially ever at the Rose Bowl, so many things, so much potential, and yet here I am, still embarrassed, still extremely disappointed, and looking towards the future. At some point, we can't say, let's keep looking toward the future and stop being an embarrassing program. I'm tired of saying that. I'm tired of saying, man, what about that team? I don't want to see about this team across town. You got to make your move because they're out there with a mediocre coach getting some decent talent in Southern California, and at some point they might reap the benefits from that. UCLA has to make this challenge. In the Big Ten, they have to step up and be up to the challenge of playing Big Ten, big boy football here in this conference at this time when you get more of a national presence across various networks. Various opportunities. Put your university on the line. Those 4 letters has to mean something good. UCLA, top tier public institution. And here we are, embarrassing ourselves again and again on the football field. Basketball on the men's side is a little frustrating to watch. The women had an up and down week, but obviously with some injuries, they looked like they might figure it out by the end of the season. Can we get something going and not just have to have a paper bag over our head from the months of August to December and hope on some recruit to pan out? No. Go get a Bob Chesney. If it has to be a Jed Fish and he changes his mind, make it a Jed Fish. Don't think that's where it's going to go. But let's stop with this nonsense. It was embarrassing to watch this second half. UCLA couldn't score damn points. Burn the damn tape. I don't want a single highlight. See a single highlight. Yes, obviously Penn State was fun to watch. I don't want to watch it again. This was one of the most brutal seasons to endure as a UCLA fan. Because it was not just the play on the field. It was how they had to handle off the field stuff. They just came up week after week after week. It wasn't necessarily the players. It was just the Bruins shooting themselves in their own feet again and again and again, from the athletic department lead all the way to this entire coaching search, which might not actually be botched. It might not if they can go win it and turn around the program. But tonight, I'm embarrassed and frustrated with how this season ended. You see Lincoln Riley jumping like a little child, going for time. Get that nonsense out of here. I'm tired of this BS, okay? That sucks. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And even if you missed the start of the game or you want to watch the hot hand, FanDuel, well, hey, you can see who can score next, the fourth quarter comebacks, and even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when you're making that late push, and your team's making that late push. In this game, UCLA huge underdogs against USC. I was pretty confident that they would cover. The Bruins end up doing so. And if you're on FanDuel, hey, right now FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com, sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Well, now it's the holiday gift-giving season, and you probably want to go out and deal with Omaha Steaks. It makes gift-giving almost too simple, whether you're treating yourself or someone else this memorable holiday season. Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door, and this week is the best time to jump in. Their cyber sale is here, and the deals are huge. You can see the quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking even easier. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. An additional $35 off using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. Again, that's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. Last time we have to react or talk about a simple game week for UCLA. Now we look to the future, the early signing day, the transfer portal, and most notably, arguably the biggest decision UCLA's had to make in their program for the pivot. Does UCLA actually care about football? Do they care about bringing their athletic department a better optics towards academics, showcasing that their program that's willing to spend for football, which can spread the wealth across the other programs? Well, by hiring the right football coach, you can do something like that. And then you'll see everybody a lot more joyful, want to go cheer on the basketball team, men's or women's. You'll see a lot more energy with UCLA just by having a little more fun on a football Saturday in the fall if you make the right head coaching hire. If you go play, I would love to see them play at the Rose Bowl, wherever they play, if they can stop just making themselves an embarrassment. Obviously, today they did their best. It still was way too short from what UCLA standard should be. And until next time, maybe it's Bob Chesney, maybe it's not. But we'll talk about the UCLA coaching hires, will Nico stay, will Nico go, who's returning, all that and more on Locked On UCLA. And don't forget, the UCLA women take on Tennessee. That'll be a fun one on Sunday afternoon. I'll talk about that too. Hands up, Bruins fans. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA, fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.